hippie. Papa was a copper and the mama was a hippie. In Alabama, she was swinging a hammer. Price you gotta pay when you break the panorama. She never knew that there was anything more than gold. What in the world does your company take me for? Black bandana, sweet Louisiana, robbing on a bank in the state of Indiana. She's a runner, rebel and a stunner. On the merry way saying, baby, what you gonna? Looking down the barrel of a hot metal 45. Just another way to survive. California, rest in peace. Simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess from your priest. Yeah, yeah. She's a lover, baby, and a fighter. Should have seen it coming when it got a little brighter. With a name like Diana, California, day was gonna come when I was gonna mourn ya. A little loaded, she was stealing another breath. I love my baby to death. California, rest in peace. Simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest. Yeah, yeah. Who knew that all was silent? Who knew that all was time? Too true to say goodbye to you. Too true to say. Push the fader, gifted animator, one for the now and 11 for the later. Never made it up to Minnesota. North Dakota man was a gunner for the quota. Down in the Badlands, she was saving the best for last. It only hurts when I laugh. Gone too fast. California, rest in peace. Simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest. Yeah, yeah. California, rest in peace. Simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest. Yeah, yeah.
All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? Glad to be back again to podcasting. Now, I'm sorry I couldn't do this episode on Monday. I was just kind of preoccupied with some other stuff that I wanted to do. But yeah, this is episode 2. But I'm glad to be back to doing this, and I'm glad to have viewers again. But I just want to start off by saying, man, it is hot here in California, and holy shit. If you don't have an AC in your house, Jesus Christ, I feel bad for you because you're probably melting alive right now. But hey, I mean, I'm lucky enough that I have something to cool me down. That's not just like a stupid little fan. But it's just California, or is it just hot everywhere in general? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like it's just hot everywhere. And it just seems like it gets hotter and hotter every year, just in general. And holy crap. I mean, is this just cause of global warming? Because Jesus Christ, if it is, please people, let us change this. Because it is way too hot to be doing anything right now. But anyways, I'm going to be starting classes again. Well, I am starting classes this week, but I don't know how this is going to affect my podcasting schedule. I'm going to be trying being consistent with this, at least keeping it Mondays. Just today, yesterday I couldn't really do that, but hey, it is what it is. And really, we don't have control of our schedules and what happens in our lives, so that's just what that is just the sacrifice what we have to do. But anyways, I got a few topics to talk about, and I just want to say I am still looking for people to be on my podcast, and I'm hoping to have people probably next week, hopefully. Now, I am going to be trying getting more guests on, and hopefully being more interactive with other people in this community. So just stay tuned for that. So if you just expect changes into this show, because it's not just going to be me, because I kind of find that a little bit boring if it's just me talking into the screen. But I am going to be inviting people onto this show and trying to keep people permanently. But we'll see who I can keep and who's going to be guests. But yeah. But right at the bat, I just want to start with some small news that came out this week. At least some unexpected news, which is that Ghost of Tsushima is going to have multiplayer. And holy crap, I was not expecting this. Now, I just gotta say, I am a big Ghost of Tsushima fan, even though I'm still in Act 2. Don't fucking criticize me. Yes, we are live, Coon. We are live. I'm just gonna retweet that right now, actually. But, yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, that is honestly surprised me, because I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't expecting any big, like, update like this. This is just huge. And honestly, the news really surprised me, and it kind of caught me in my interest, especially with the raid part. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But right now, I just want to say thanks for everyone tuning in. Fall Guys Game of the Year. Yes, it is. Fall Guys is very much addicting. And honestly, it kind of feels like after Ghost of Tsushima and Fall Guys came out, there's honestly nothing left this year. I mean, there is Cyberpunk, but that's near the end of the year. But what else has come out? What else is coming out just like in the next few months? I mean, I honestly am not sure. But it honestly seems now that Fall Guys released, there's honestly nothing. There's just no good games to actually keep an eye out for or to play right now. Is that just the industry just being like dry right now? Is it usually this dry around this time? I mean, if it is, Jesus Christ, these companies need to fix that and release games during this time. At least in the summertime, people are, well, at least right now during this pandemic, people are in their homes, so I feel like, hey, just release something so people can play? I mean, it doesn't have to be big, but at least be something. I mean, I haven't heard anything that's been releasing as of right now. I mean, I guess you could count Flight Simulator, but that's hardly even a game. It's more a simulation. Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer is going to be 2-player and 4-player co-op. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there are apparently going to be classes into Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm going to go into those classes just in a second. But honestly, 4-player in Ghost of Tsushima, that's just going to be fun. I'm going to have tons of fun with my friends that have that game. And I am going to... I know what class I want to be already. I know what class I want to be at heart as an Assassin's Creed fan. again, I'll get into that in a bit. So, a article is published about this multiplayer, and it states that Ghost of Tsushima Legends, as the mode is called, will be free download for all who have the game. It's a separate mode that doesn't follow Jin or the companions from his journey, said Darren Bridges, as a designer with Sucker Punch Productions, but instead focuses on 4 warriors who have been built up as legends in stories told by people of Tsushima. And I find this interesting is only because that for those of you who have played the story mode or the story so far, there are myths and legends that we hear about samurais, and some of them we actually get special moves for in the game. And I wonder if those are going to be the legendary samurais that we hear about. And the article also goes on, whereas the main game campaign highlights the natural beauty of Tsushima's island open world environment, Legends is a haunting, fantastical bridges set with locations and enemies inspired by Japanese folk tales and mythology. Now, from the trailer itself, it honestly looks very, very horror themed, and I'm honestly a sucker about that. They're about to ruin Ghost. No. I don't think they're about to ruin Ghost, in all honesty. I think that this is cool because it's separate from the main game. It's not like you have to play it. It's just optional. But the fact they're adding story content to this too, which is honestly really cool because it gives you more to do. And there's gonna be a lot of stuff like raids and just bosses too, I believe. And I wonder what you're gonna be able to get out of this, because in all honesty, something like this that includes raids, there has to be some loot. So I wonder if they're gonna add like some kind of loot system in this game where you could customize your samurai and your weapons too, and if the weapons have stats or something, because this is just a big question mark for the game right now, and we don't have that much information other than it's coming out in the fall of this year, which is honestly mind-blowing. But I am honestly so down for this. And now I'm gonna go into the classes. Now, for the classes, it's in the article. It states that Legends is exclusive. It will have 4 character classes, that being Samurai, Hunter, Ronin, and Assassin. Sucker Punch it will divulge more about the classes' capabilities later. So we'll probably get more information as time goes on. So hopefully we'll get some information soon, if not maybe like in the next month or 2. And honestly, I'm going to be the assassin just because. Hey, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I like to play in the shadows, and that benefited me in the story because, of course, you do get some cutscenes with the main character Jin being all assassins, like, even though you can also play as a complete samurai. Which, to be honest, yeah, that honestly, the samurai way, it kind of is tricky because the story kind of forces you into one direction, which is the main story. But it would have been better if they added options like they did in their previous games. But I'm not going to talk about that. Kun, you got a new phone and battery is dying. All right, Kun. Thanks for stopping by. Just catch the rest of the show when your phone is fully charged or whatever. But honestly, I wonder how the rating is going to be in this game, because I know there are raids in Destiny, and I've seen my cousin play those, and they're pretty cool. But I wonder how it's going to be like for this. Now, is there going to be the boss is going to have like mystical powers? Are the enemies going to be like some kind of like undead or just horrifying nightmares? Because the vibe I got off of this is Ghostwire Tokyo, and Ghostwire Tokyo, in all honesty, is aesthetically pleasing in the enemy designs, just because they're all horror themed. But just like the whole, like, just some of the clips that they showed off in general in the trailer that they released, at least, it all feels like it's just gonna be so trippy into this new world and environment that's solely separate from the actual island of Tsushima, because some of it looks like it's gonna be like upside down or just like floating pieces of just like land. It really does fit that horror environment. And honestly, this wasn't something I expected at all. Like, I expected maybe it's like some type of DLC for the main story, but not a multiplayer. I mean, a multiplayer for this game is going to be popular, especially with how popular this game is in demand right now. So, I'm just going to be looking forward to that. Now, I want to know what everyone else's classes are going to be. Now, just tell me what you're going to play as. But, yeah. Now, I also just want to talk about Fall Guys real quick. Fall Guys is a fucking smash right now. It is just charting on Twitch. It has major player numbers. It is popular right now, and honestly, I am so addicted to it. And honestly, I've been having a lot of fun with my friends. I've been having a lot of fun just switching around with my family playing it too. And in a time like this, where video games are really a big source of entertainment for everybody, it honestly is refreshing. And one thing that I think they need to do for that game is really add new maps, because honestly, playing the same old maps that they've been rotating with is honestly kind of tiring. Because we've played them like how many times now? Like several times, and I just feel like they need to add more variety and more like just different maps. They need to add new designs, new whatever challenges. But if they do that on a consistent basis, probably like every month, like they add like a new map, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be weekly at all. But if they do manage to do weekly, that would be really impressive. That'd be really impressive. But I'm just hoping that they could add some new maps sometime soon, because that'd be really nice, and at least it would keep things spicy at least. But I want to know if any of you guys are playing it. Now I know one of you guys are, who's stopped by on the stream, but in all honesty, that game has honestly surprised me, because when it came out, I didn't think it was anything too big. I did see some YouTubers playing it, but holy crap, that game is huge, and I am truly having fun with it. But still, like I said, what other games are coming out this month? I mean, Flight Simulator came out just fairly recently, I believe. Just yesterday, maybe? I'm not too sure. But Flight Simulator seems to be doing well, and despite me not really being into the simulation type of games, I know people are enjoying that game, and it looks honestly mind-blowing. That Flight Simulator from Microsoft just looks ultra realistic at points. Like, if you take a screenshot from out of a window in the game, it honestly looks like you're staring at a picture posted on Google. Just like type in any image on Google Images and just look for it in that game. I swear to you, it looks like real life. And that's the beauty of that game, because it looks absolutely amazing. And I really have to applaud Zobo Studios for making that game. But they're really great with visuals. I mean, look at the Plague's Tale. That game was pretty good, but I feel like kind of Microsoft Flight Simulator was kind of just like waste talent for them, because they proved that they are good at story. So I feel like they could have made a story game, or maybe a sequel to the Plague's Tale. That would have been cool. But still, I'm happy for them that they have huge success with this game, and hopefully this game continues to release some DLC. I mean, we're already seeing that they're charging for some landing strips or airports, I believe, and some hangars too, and new planes. And you could just tell that this game is going to be having some content like either fucking Farm Simulator or Train Simulator, because we all know that those simulator type of games like to milk people for their money. And I bet you this is going to be no different. But I'm also going to be talking about some other stuff going on. So, some of the stuff going on to this gaming world is, of course, I'm going to be talking about Epic versus Google. Or Epic versus Google and Apple, I should say, as things have escalated to a whole new other degree. So, okay. Where to start? Now, this all started just because Epic thought it would be clever just to ban itself. Now, we all know that, of course, Epic has been against this policy of these companies such as Steam, Google, and Apple just taking a huge percentage of their cut from their games. And in all honesty, I understand them from that point of view. But at the same time, their store takes like what, a 12 to 15% revenue cut from games. So they are a little bit hypocritical right there. So I mean, they're not completely clean. They're not completely clean. But I understand that they want to fight back against like these huge revenue cuts, such as 30% or maybe like even 25%, which is what Steam, I believe, took from other games and game companies. And banned from both Google and Apple. What's up, Jemiah? Nice to see you stopping by. Hope you're having a great day. But I think it was pretty smart of them. And now they have a case where they can at least go against Apple and Google in court. Now, morally, it is right because what they're doing is they're kind of helping out smaller game developers and publishers with this. What's up, Red Hood? Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for supporting this podcast episode. Well, morally, I kind of agree with what Epic is doing because this will benefit small developers in the long run. And honestly, it kind of sucks to see that these smaller game developers that probably don't make that much money because of these big companies like Epic and Google that take a percentage of the revenue. It kind of sucks to see. What's up, Adam? Didn't expect to see you here, but thanks for supporting. But yeah, I think that this could intentionally or unintentionally, if Epic did even plan this out, to help out smaller developers. Now, I know that Google and Apple aren't exactly a monopoly, so this isn't really fighting against a monopoly like Epic is advertising back with Google fighting IBM, or just back then in 1984, I believe, is when that ad came out. But it kind of seems just kind of silly that these huge companies are fighting against each other. Now, I know a lot of people are taking the stance of not supporting these big companies just because they're big billion-dollar companies. But I think what Epic is doing is just better in terms of like what they're fighting for. But it's just kind of like, it's just like, I don't really care because they're companies, but at the same time, you kind of have to understand the more ground that Epic is taking, because Apple has just like been against gaming, and they're kind of proving that they just don't care about video games in general by removing any game with the Epic game engine, with the just like Unreal Engine 4 or 5, whatever. They're just going to be removing any small game developers that have made games on those engines, which really is going to bite small game developers in the ass, because how are they going to make any revenue if their games aren't put on these major platforms? The less Fortnite there is, the happier I am. Oh, so you're not a fan of Fortnite, I see. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan either, but it has its fan base. I just kind of came to accept that now. I mean, I think it is dying in player base, but its fan base is strong. It's still going strong. But I think this is what Epic was looking for. I think they wanted just Apple to get rid of these other games. Now, I'm not sure if Google took that same approach, because it just seems to be Apple right now. But I think we'll find out in the future if Google is going to be doing the same thing. I sincerely doubt it, because I don't think they want to get the same negativity that Apple is getting. But I think this is what's going to help. This is going to help Epic, because it's going to show that, of course, Apple is just breaking the antitrust law. They are removing games for their benefits, not because it's for the consumer. It's for their benefits, because Apple wants money. And I think you can make the point that probably Epic wants money since they want kids to go buy their V-Bucks from their store. But that's just something that that's just another topic for another day. But it's just kind of hard to decide who like you exactly kind of are signing with. Now you do have your Epic and your fucking Apple fanboys going at it in just Twitter, where Twitter is just like an echo chamber of just shit. It's just an echo chamber of just toxic, just toxic people. And in all honesty, I can care less of this if this happened, because I'm not really much of a phone gamer. I'm not really much of a Fortnite gamer. But again, you do have to understand it from the smaller developers' point of view, because if Epic is successful in taking out this 30% that they're getting from games, it really will help out game developers, and that's something they kind of did with their own store. Now I know, for those of you watching, I know Steam is better than Epic, but I think Epic is kind of just their store is just, it will get better over time, and I think that their smaller percentage kind of makes sense, because they do still want a percentage of revenue from outside games. Like, for example, Horizon Zero Dawn is published on the Epic Store and Steam, and of course they will take percentage from that game being sold. So it kind of makes sense that they do want some kind of percentage, but at the same time, there should be a limit to how much these companies gain from outside publishers and outside game developers. Now, that's just what I have to say, and I think it's kind of funny just seeing the advertisement, just the advertisement come out just as soon as Apple banned Fortnite, because you can tell that Epic is ready for this. They've been preparing for this, so it is kind of just interesting to see that Epic is willing to get banned just to prove a point. Now, where I have to disagree with Epic is using its fan base of 9-year-olds and kids just to fight their law battle. Now, I don't think kids are actually going to understand what this is all about, because only hardcore gamers will really understand this. And kids are more casual and mainstream gamers. They don't really care about what's going down in gaming, and like in terms of like, of course, the battle between Epic and Apple. What's up, Floyd? Thanks for stopping by. But I just don't think that their marketing is really going to help them all that much. It will get some attention, specifically like from Twitter and YouTube. But from the people I've asked that play Fortnite on a consistent basis, they don't really know what this is about. They don't really care. So I think that's kind of just like, that kind of serves as just like the base of like how just casual people are feeling about this. And in all honesty, it's not really something to get invested about, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't really care, because again, these are billion-dollar companies, so it's not really going to benefit consumers. I mean, it doesn't really benefit our interests, but that's just that. Now, another subject I want to talk about, of course, I want to talk about the insider that released the information of Multiplat's not going to be able to hit 4K on the PS5. Now, this information started from a little known insider that published a bit of information following what was it? It was from Konami. It was a Silent Hill. It was a Silent Hill leak, which we all know how popular those are. And he did his information was backed up, and I think that with this information that he put out, it honestly was the best look for him. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the leaker goes by Dust Golem on Twitter, or Aesthetic Gamer, and he put out a series of tweets trying to put out negative information out there for the PlayStation, because he kind of felt that Xbox was receiving too much negative information. Now, I really take the stance as seeing as why do you have to do this? Now, he said that he was against the console war, but I think this kind of proved the opposite. He was willing to add more fuel to the fire in this console war. What's up, Brooklyn? Thanks for stopping by. Yes, I am growing fast, and soon I will outgrow you. Just watch yourself, Big Cloud. I will be taking your spot. I'm coming for you. But back to the topic. In all honesty, I didn't really see the point into doing this. If you're against this fanboy stuff, why participate? Why add fuel to the fire? Now, I did have a discussion with someone on Twitter about whether or not these statements could be true, because, in all honesty, he could have just put out this information that he heard just to put it out. But we know that he had a motive for it. We know that he had a motive just to put this out. But what's funny is that a lot of other game developers have already come out and said that their games are 4K 60, or that their games are just running in 4K natively. I mean, look at Digital Foundry's breakdown of the PS5 event when they showed off the PS5, and from watching Digital Foundry, they say that a lot of the games that they analyzed at that event or during that live stream was full 4K. So showing that, I think that there really isn't any weight to what those accusations are that he's putting out. And I mean, in all honesty, there are games that are probably not going to be running in full 4K. That's just going to be a reality. There are going to be games that are going to be struggling to hit 4K. But now he did go on to later try to save his ass by saying this is only for Resident Evil 8. Now, he also later clarified that to being that the game would probably ship out in a better circumstance, but he did say that he heard from other sources that other games would probably be struggling on the PS5. Now, I just think that's bullshit because, I mean, out of all the games that Digital Foundry confirmed for 4K, it was most of them except Little Big Planet, which if you go to that video of Digital Foundry's, they practically go on to describe like if all the games are either 4K native or if there's like some kind of trick being used. But I mean, I'm not big on Digital Foundry. I have something against them. Like, I know they're not really trustworthy news. But it's just kind of hard to just like take this like seriously. Now, I know Xbox fanboys are running with this and just saying that this game, like that PS5 is going to struggle against the Xbox Series X. And yes, the Xbox Series X is powerful, no doubt about that. But the PS5 is literally more powerful than the One X that can already do 4K for some games. So it wouldn't make sense that the PS5 would be struggling. It just doesn't make any sense. You guys get me? Because the PS5 is close to 10 teraflops, which is practically just, 2 teraflops less than the Series X. It's just 2 teraflops less. So there's really not that big of a difference. I mean, yes, the PS5 is variable, so it can't just like change. It just can't change. So, I mean, if that's causing developers to struggle, then okay, maybe you have a point there. But unless developers come out and state that, which I highly doubt any developer is going to come out right now since the PS5 is not out, I don't think there's a problem right now. And putting in just such false information like this, or just rumors like this, is kind of damaging, and it leads to big YouTubers such as Review Tech USA and just media outlets publishing this. And this is something I've had against this community for a while now, is that a lot of people are willing to put out just bullshit stories just to get clicks. Now, I understand that people want to get attention, so they want to put out just these kind of stories. But I've always been one to not trust this. And honestly, In all honesty, how do you expect this shit to just like have any validity to it? I don't even think I said that word right, but validity to it. But I just don't get how a lot of people in this community that are just quote unquote insiders have a track record like this, but are willing to put out information just to turn the tides in this console war. I just don't get it. So that's kind of just my problem with Dusk Golem, and I would have made a video on this, but I kind of didn't want to. I just didn't want to really do anything. I just didn't want to give this guy any attention. And what's funny enough is that someone who worked on the PS5 called Matt Hargett, he actually came out and tried to defend the PS5. Now, it would make sense because he did work on the PS5, or at least in the early stages. So he did help develop it, and it would make sense that he wants to defend his product and make sure that any information be thrown against it is either just proven to be correct, or if there's no information, that is straight up false. So I just think that people need to just kind of calm down. Like, yes, everyone's a bit antsy to see these consoles in action, and everyone's a bit antsy to get the prices for these consoles. But until Sony actually does something, or like with the price rumors going on for Xbox, until these companies actually say something, we're going to be getting this kind of stories for a while now, and it's probably just going to go on for a little bit, for like a few months, until they announce this. And seeing as these console manufacturers are just playing chicken right now and not even putting out information consistently, I just don't really see this like ending anytime soon. I just don't. I just really don't. But oh boy. I think if we continue to see stories like this from just people who have an agenda to push, I think really we have to start looking at these insiders' credibility. We really have to start looking at where we get our information from. And that even goes for the media outlets. I mean, even the media outlets have an agenda. That is obvious. But I think that's just people in general. People are so willing to lie just to get a story out for views and clicks. They just want attention. So I really think that people have to start being careful where they get their information from. Otherwise, people will get attacked for putting out just wrong information or just bullshit stories like this. They will get attacked, and I think this is just going to be the start. Thoughts on the Atari VCS? And I haven't heard anything about the Intellivision. I haven't heard anything about that, but the Atari VCS, I mean, it looks alright. Nothing really impressive spec-wise. I mean, it looks interesting. It looks really nice and sleek, but at the same time, there's not really much going for it. Like, it's gonna, like, what is it gonna be? Like $400, I believe, $399 or $499, whatever. And I really don't see the point in getting it, other than just if you guys want new technology and it's a new Atari system, then go for it. But for me personally, I just don't really see the point of it, and there's not really going to be any major gains for the game console itself. So that already kind of eliminates just my reason for getting it. But it's just kind of hard to just like give my thoughts on that, because honestly, I didn't grow up an Atari kid. I grew up being a PS2 kid, so I'm not really that fond of Atari. So I think that this is probably going to be more like for Atari fans in general. Like I know this still has a fan base of Atari fans, and hey, I mean, at least you can play Netflix on this Atari console. There is that. I've tried to give this some positive points. Don't roast me on this. But yeah, that's just gonna be my thoughts. Now I do have to look into that Intellivision. Is that the portable gaming console that looks like the Game Boy? Because I did see that, and I did see it was sold out. Now that does look interesting, because that console looks clean as hell, and the black design too. It looks clean. The screen looks clean, and it just looks like something I might actually have to get myself. In all honesty, and even if it doesn't have that many good games for that handheld console, who knows? Maybe you could just jailbreak it and add like Game Boy games onto it, because it does have that same old school Game Boy controls. But I'm not sure if that's the same console. I did see something like a portable like looking Game Boy console, just like a few weeks ago, a week ago maybe. But I'm just gonna move on to my next subject now. There's been a lot of leaks regarding the Xbox Series price. Now, the first one came from Monster Energy. Now, I don't really know how people got the price from that. I mean, they didn't really say anything. They kind of just like used math from the numbers they gave out. Like, I can believe there was 200 consoles being given out, but I'm not sure what they got the other numbers from. I believe that was it had to be the price, I believe, for all the consoles together, or I believe the price money was around like 100,000. So people divided that by the amount of consoles, which, in all honesty, it doesn't really say anything about how much the console is actually going to be. It more is just kind of more speculation. Now, I really think that the Monster Energy stuff, it doesn't really prove anything, and it won't prove anything. But I mean, I really did think it's funny how people came down to $5.99, which is what Lana Pierce later came out to say that she heard from her source, and even then she claimed that it was probably just a placeholder for what the game would or what the console would actually cost. And this just goes back to me saying that, again, a lot of people are just kind of hungry for just the price of these consoles, and the fact that these console manufacturers aren't putting this information out just yet and just playing chicken with each other, it just kind of is frustrating everybody, and people are just going to be throwing these major price points out. Now, yes, the Xbox Series X has some major tech behind it, but from Phil Spencer just going out there and saying that he cares about the price, they want to nail down the price of the console. I really do think that they kind of want to go down to at least like a $500 price point, and I'm starting to think that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are just going to be $500. That's just going to be I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, you guys can at me if you guys want, but I really do think that it's going to be $500 for both of these consoles. But if we don't get any information out soon, I really think that we're going to just be hearing $600, $500, $400 for these consoles. And especially with this Series S just being a rumor, just being shown off like it exists. What's up, Lobo? Thanks for stopping by, man. You missed me talking about Apple and Epic and Google. You missed that conversation, man. You could have been in the chat to debate me about that, bro. You could have. But right now, I'm just talking about the Series X price leaks, and I'm kind of just giving my thoughts and opinions on the prices giving out. But back to my train of thoughts. Where was I? Where was I? Oh yeah. Now, okay. I think that this. Damn you. I mean, if you want to come on here and debate me about that Epic versus Google, I'll send you an invite into my Discord, Lobo. I mean, we can debate about that if you want, but we can do it offline. Okay, fine, fair enough. I'll do it offline then. Just tell me whenever you want to debate about this, bro. I want to talk to you about this. But back to my train of thoughts. I really do think that this console price is just gonna be just elevating up and down from just people talking about it. And that's why I really think that these console manufacturers just need to just put out their price finally. I mean, once they say the price, we know that's gonna be final. But the problem is with these game manufacturers. Excuse me. But the problem is that these game manufacturers don't want to just state the price just yet. They want someone to make a mistake so they can just undercut them. And in all honesty, how long is this going to take? I mean, how long is this going to take? It's just like, oh boy. I mean, I get that these consoles just want to, like, someone wants to undercut each other, but there has to be a limit to this. We're going to be approaching, like, well, we're in August right now. We're going to be approaching September, and that only has October, November, and December. So that only leaves, like, 3 months. We only have 3 months. And the fact that no one has released a price yet, this is just kind of getting ridiculous. Don't you guys think? I mean, how long, like, I'm pretty new to this community. I'm pretty new to just talking about this game information from just the gaming community. But has anything like this happened before in any other console generation? Because just tell me if it has. Because I'm just kind of shocked that no price has been given out yet. I am very surprised. But oh boy. I'm just kind of shocked that nothing has come out at all. I mean, there's not even a hint. I mean, other than speculation we have from insiders and just sources and or quote unquote sources, there's nothing really to go off of because either PlayStation goes first or Xbox goes first, and I don't think one of them wants to go first because I do hear people springing up the point that they probably don't want to announce like the big price point just yet. Neither one of them wants to announce that $500 price point. But I mean, come on, someone has to announce something. I just want to know when I can buy this thing. I just want to know when I can buy this thing. Just tell me a date for that. You don't even have to give out the price. Just tell me when. Just tell me when you're gonna be releasing these things. Now, there's already speculation on when the Xbox is going. Well, the Series S is going to release, judging by the back of the controller that leaked like a week ago. Which, in all honesty, I think that gave more of a hint that it would be leaning into a more of a November launch, but I just don't know because they haven't given these prices out. But I think with the Xbox, now that we have a kind of a solid confirmation of when they'll be releasing, I think we will get a release date soon-ish. Well, it's just kind of my hope, because once they could put out a price, at least then PlayStation could go out and put out a price. But oh boy. And that just kind of leads me into that I wonder when the PlayStation 5 will launch, because I just, like, they said that they want to launch this year and that they're on a track on launching this year. So if Xbox wants to release their console in September or in November, where does that leave PlayStation now? If PlayStation releases within the same month, that would be interesting. But releasing so close to the holidays is something I really don't see these consoles doing. But maybe in October, maybe that could work. But even then, I'm kind of iffy about that. And I'm just kind of going off of my thoughts with the PS5 because I just kind of want to give my thoughts about that, to be honest. But I think the PS5 could release they want to release ahead of the Xbox. I know that for sure. They did. I believe they did it with the PS4, where they released it a few days, maybe even a week before the Xbox. But they're just kind of staying silent on that. But I really do think that they're probably going to have they might have an event next month, because if they haven't had a month this month, like people were saying they would, again, that's because of the insiders that were saying that PlayStation would have an event just late this month in August, but nothing has come up, nothing has happened. So I'm speculating that we're probably just gonna get an event next month at least. But I mean, I hope we get some more information soon, because if we just continue just not having any information, we're probably not really gonna get any information next month either. So that would probably leave October, November, and December, and they want to release these consoles in 2020. So that will just, I don't think they want to do December. So it would probably either be November or October that we get these that we get the prices for these consoles. I don't know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the chat. Tell me what you guys think that the prices will be for these consoles. Tell me what you guys think that these consoles will release. And yeah. Now, I wanted to also go into this small information that came out this week. Insomniac put out an image of Spider-Man Miles Morales, which looked really cool. It honestly looked really, really beautiful. And I'm just going to pull up the image right now. And judging from the image, they really are going hard with particle effects. They really are. And we can see that that ray tracing is going to be something that really makes these games stand out from the current gen games. Now I know I've seen people complain that all these quote unquote next gen games don't really look anything too special that can play on like they wouldn't be able to play it on current gen hardware. Which, fine, I'll give people that. These next gen games don't really look all too impressive. They just don't. But it's just that with the Spider-Man game, it looks so beautiful, and just like the reflections too, they look so nice and detailed. Where in this current gen, a lot of reflections just look kind of blurry at best. Like, there are tricks to the reflections that people have used, but to get that true reflection, I think Spider-Man kind of nailed it with like that hand, which again I will pop up right now. So just give me a second. But it's just like, again, this Spider-Man game is something I really like. I just really like the look of, and I really do think that the visuals are just a bit of a step up. Now, a lot of people are trying to point out that this may have just been a screenshot, just an in-game photo mode. Which, to be honest, they could have a point, because photo mode does tend to make everything look good. It does. And we just kind of need to see the game in action, in all honesty. But I just kind of, I think that they'll put out some more information going like in the next few months, because this game is releasing this year as well as a launch game for the PS5. So I really do think that we'll get some more information soon. Hopefully some gameplay will be shown, and hopefully a release window for the game, if it's not pushed back, because it seems to be the common trend of a lot of games being pushed back. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But okay. Okay, I can't find the image, but I'll probably talk about this later, because I am planning on making a Spider-Man video for this new game. But in more recent news, of course, because this games industry is always flooded with news. There's just never a dull moment in the games industry. There's never a dull moment, and there's always something to talk about. So the more recent news is that Deathloop, which of course was being headed by none other than Arcane Studios, is being pushed back to 2021. Now, I don't believe they gave out a solid confirmation on when in 2021. All we know is that they pushed back a little bit, which That game, in honesty, looked really fun, but it didn't really look at anything too outstanding in terms of what PlayStation showed off at their Future Games event. But I honestly think that game is going to be fun, and Arcane Studios is a solid developer. They really do know what they're doing, so I really don't have any worry about them pushing their game back. And in all honesty, any game that gets pushed back, it could come out a better product than what it was before. Now, one thing that really interested me in that was, of course, the time loop. It was practically like a Groundhog's Day type of game mode, and which I think is kind of funny too, because that's also what a Sony exclusive was kind of going for with Returnal. So there's kind of two games that are doing that time thing where it's going back in time. But I think Deathloop kind of just sold me just because of the gunplay. And yes, this game is a timed exclusive, but it just kind of sucks. And the reason was because of the COVID that's going on right now in this world. And I think we are going to be seeing a lot of games get pushed back. But it's just kind of the byproduct of what's happening in the world right now. So it's kind of just like, it kind of has to just be expected at this point. It just does. But I want to see this game. I want to see a lot of games just release, at least for the next new consoles. But I understand that a lot of games aren't going to be making the 2020 window. I mean, heck, we still don't have a release date for Dying Light 2, which is right now a popular game as well. Which leads me to believe that we're probably not going to get that game for 2021 either. And, I mean, Cyberpunk has been being pushed back too. So there could be a chance that it gets pushed back to a later date in 2021. But that's just what we have to expect with this COVID era. It honestly sucks that games have to get pushed back. But, again, if games had to get pushed back, so be it. Because at least games could be better. At least games could really benefit from getting pushed back. And at least games can improve too. I mean, just like, I mean, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I'm just kind of gonna go use the quote that Miyamoto used. You know, the creator of Mario. But I think it just has to go without being said that a delay isn't bad. It isn't. It honestly can help out a game. And it's just like, in honesty, I wonder what else is going to get pushed back. Could Miles Morales be pushed back too? I mean, right now, California is a really hot place for COVID. And I am not exaggerating. I live here in California, so I know how bad it is in LA. And in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man ends up getting delayed as well. Because Insomniac is based in California. But I think that's just kind of something to be waiting for. But I kind of hoping that it doesn't get delayed. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. I just wouldn't. But now we are going to go on to the major topic right now. And that is that Halo Infinite is delayed. And oh boy. I cannot believe that this information came out right after, literally, my first episode of my podcast. And in all honesty, I am really surprised that Microsoft pushed back the game. Now, the reason why I'm surprised is because Microsoft isn't really known for, well, I mean, I guess they did do it with Crackdown, but, Crackdown, honestly, I don't think that really deserved that many chances. But I'm only surprised that Halo got a chance, because that was their key game for their console launch. That was probably what they were hoping on most that would sell the Xbox. And now that Halo Infinite was pushed back, they have nothing. And in all honesty, what else does Xbox have to launch with that's not multiplayer or second party? Now, they do have the Medium right now, which I believe is the 2020 launch title, but I'm not too sure about that. I think that's just kind of wishful thinking. But Halo is that game that filled in just that game that needed or that had people wanting to buy the new gen consoles to enjoy this. Now, there was a major backlash, like I talked about with the graphics before in my last episode, that Halo Infinite just didn't look that good. It just didn't, and everybody knows that. Everyone's willing to admit that Halo Infinite wasn't that good. That was the bread and butter. Yes, it was. And now that Xbox is missing that, in all honesty, I think it's gonna hurt them in the short term. It really will hurt them in the short term. Because without that game to help sell your consoles, what's gonna motivate people to buying an Xbox? I mean, sure, they're multiplats, and there are a lot of people that just play multiplats on their consoles, just like Friend Altor and all the other Xbox people. But for the casual audience, it's really going to be a tough sell to just casual gamers to buy an Xbox. But they did come out earlier this month, or just this week, saying that console sales isn't something that they really care about. And in all honesty, with their PC launches, they don't really have to worry about that because they release simultaneously on a PC. And seeing as they could get revenue from the PC market too, it's just something that kind of negates children. What about children? Tuda, Honey? I see you brought up children, but I'm not sure what you're addressing. Is it is that children won't buy the console, or that they will buy the console? But it's just hard to me to see this new console being released without anything with it. Now, of course, the same thing could be said with the PlayStation. It only has Miles Morales, but at least they have a game to launch the console and help sell it. That's the main benefit of having Spider-Man there. I mean, yes, it's gonna be a short game, but they have something at least, and that's really what's gonna help Sony sell their console. Now, this isn't going to hurt them majorly because this is only pushed back to 2021. Now, what thing I found kind of strange is that they didn't give a release date for 2021, which makes me believe that they could push it back even more if they needed to possibly 2022. But I do think that they probably want Halo to release at some point in 2021. And I think it's safe to assume that the reasoning was because of the graphics and how everybody just roasted 343 and Xbox for those graphics. I think that's just safe to assume that. And they did say that COVID did have a part to play in this, but the problem is they announced this game back in 2018 or 2019. They announced this game, and it's been 2 or 3 years now. Because it's been 2 or 3 years. So what have they been doing? And the fact that they had to push that game back just to fix it up and make it look better is kind of mind blowing to me. Like, none of this would have happened if you had a good product to show off. Now, if you weren't ready, you probably shouldn't. You should probably have shown it off, period. Because otherwise you could have just avoided this, and now you're just kind of stumbling around. Because that's kind of how I see Xbox right now. They're stumbling around big time because they really don't have something to launch with their console. And again, that's really going to seriously affect them in the short term. Now, in the long term, I think something like Game Pass can help even things out with in terms of their revenue. Because again, Game Pass, it pulls in a lot of revenue for them. 10 million, I believe, is what they stated. 10 million subscribers. But even then, I don't think that's gonna save them right now. I mean, Game Pass is a cool offer, but it's just not something that can fill into the short term. Yes, they have backup app, but I really don't think people wanted to buy a Series X in order to play last gen games or the Xbox 360 games on the new Xbox Series X. Now, yes, the Series X will make games look better, but I really don't think that that's going to help the Series X at all. But You can come at me, but that's just my thoughts. And in all honesty, what does Xbox do from here? They just have to release the console because they did say that they want to release the console in 2020, so they have a year planned out, but it's just that they don't have anything to release with it. Now, in the long term, I do see that Game Pass is going to save them, because that's where all their gamble is in Game Pass and in xCloud. Now, if xCloud does manage to be a huge success like they're banking on, it could really benefit Xbox in the long run. But right now, without Halo, the Series X is kind of just going to be struggling right out the gate. Which is kind of why I brought up Spider-Man could it be delayed because of COVID? Because of course, I was talking about how Deathloop was being delayed. Now, if Spider-Man doesn't end up getting delayed, would any of you be surprised? Could Sony possibly face the same struggle that Xbox would be facing? I mean, yes, I know that Spider-Man still has that solid release year that was hoping for, but things could change. Things could change. In this gaming industry, things always change. I mean, it's not really common for something to really. I mean, it's not really common for just something that's just stay on course. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. It was expected to release earlier this year, but then it was pushed back later this year. So that's just something I just kind of am looking at. But again, I think that this will do good for Halo in the long run, because at least people will be happy with the graphics, and it could give them time to fix up a few things. Now, one thing I'm kind of hoping is that they don't touch is Craig. Please don't touch Craig 343. Put him in there as an Easter egg. Put him in something. Make him be someone important. I don't care. Just keep him in there as an Easter egg, because that would be a waste of a meme to have and not do anything with. You could get some pretty big attention with using him. I mean, that's just me, but I just think that this delay is going to help out Xbox in the long run, because I know that probably 343 is going to be focusing a lot more on fixing this game up, making it look better, making it run for the Series X, but I am just really kind of just really iffy on how this is going to affect the Xbox launch, because again, we don't know the price. The Series X is launching without any exclusive titles, and everyone can buy them on PC. So they kind of have some hurdles to get through, but I really do hope that at the end of the day that Xbox can find their way back up and just get back on top, because we do need competition in this industry. Without competition, just these companies will just fuck us over, just majorly. But yeah. And in all honesty, I don't think we want any company just becoming a monopoly in this industry, and even if that's just Nintendo and PlayStation at the end of the day. But I really do hope that Xbox could find a game to release and hopefully sell this console. But it's kind of funny that now Xbox kind of finds itself in the same predicament that a lot of casual gamers are looking at Sony. That like a lot of the games that they announced during the PlayStation event, that a lot of games didn't look like they sold people, and this is something that just seems common right now, that a lot of people aren't like kind of just iffy on buying the new consoles. So it's just going to be something that's going to be happening for a while. So hopefully Xbox could bounce right back up. That's just my hope. I don't know. Do you guys think that Xbox has a chance at just bouncing back from this? Do you guys think that there's any chance they can save themselves from just not launching without Halo? Or do you guys think that they will possibly just port over the Gears Tactic games and Flight Simulator over to Xbox in order to give them at least some leeway, just give them something to sell with, or do you guys think that they will struggle to find something to launch with, and gamers won't really pick up the Series X early on? Now, that's really all I have to say about the launch of the Xbox. But honestly, if these companies don't come out the price, I think Xbox will will be the one that hurts the most. In all honesty, because without a game and launching at possibly 600, which is what the rumors are right now, that could be dangerous for the Xbox brand. That could be very dangerous, and oh boy. Don't even get me started on how that's gonna be sold to people. But that's just all I have to say about the Xbox. And in all honesty, I'm kind of hoping that they could bounce back from this, because we all need competition in this industry. But in other news, Nintendo also had their event today, and I skimmed through some of it. In all honesty, I did. And the indie showcase was alright. It was. But there were a few games that didn't really that kind of interested me that was coming to the Switch. But I know not a lot of you are big fans. I know a lot of you aren't fans of the Switch or Nintendo in general at that point. But I guess there's some cool announcement. But right now, seeing as the Switch doesn't really have anything, I kind of am worried for Nintendo than anything, because I mean, the only thing you released this year was I was like, what? Paper Mario? That was the only exclusive they released with? Where's the new Zelda game? Where's that? Where is Metroid Prime? Where's that remake that you guys promised? And you guys have been slacking on Smash Bros. Too. So Nintendo's kind of being lazy right now. They haven't really put out much information. I mean, the indie showcase was nice, but they didn't really show much. And the last show was mainly for Bakugan, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a Bakugan fan, but really? I honestly think that Nintendo is really struggling right now to even put out any information that's positive, because they got some backlash for the last event, and they're kind of I mean, at least this event wasn't that bad, but I mean, most of the indies that they show weren't really that impressive, or are either on other platforms already, such as Subnautica, or just what was that other one? Spiritfarer, Fire, whatever. I don't even care about what it's pronounced. Or just, I mean, there's nothing really too big that they announced. I mean, like, they had the Untitled Goose Game. That's something, I guess. But I really don't know what they're going to do, because they really don't have anything going on right now this year either. And seeing as the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are coming out fairly soon, they're going to be facing some big competition. And I bet you that the PS5 and the Series X will cut into the Switch sales. So, I mean, I pray that the Switch Pro rumors are true, but what can Nintendo do? In all honesty, what can they do? Because I just don't really know what Nintendo's plan is, because they really don't have they haven't really been showing any type of game plan. I mean, just show something, for God's sake. Show your games. Show something, like a new add-on to the Switch. Show something. But oh boy, that indie world. I mean, I honestly am disappointed. I mean, I'm looking forward to some of these indies coming to the Switch. I'm gonna buy them on my Switch. But oh boy, there wasn't anything there. And honestly, as a Nintendo fan, I am kind of disappointed. I'm just stating that outright. I am a Nintendo fan. I love their games. I don't care what a lot of other people think about Nintendo just being lazy and not really making new IPs. But I really think Nintendo's being really lazy, and it's gonna bite them in the ass if they don't do anything. I really do think that they're gonna be hurting from this if they don't bounce back quickly. But oh boy, that's just kind of my thoughts on Nintendo. And I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, it's nice that they're getting a lot of these indie games, that they're getting a buttload of support from indie developers. But at the same time, it's not like these indie games are like the bigger indie games, like your Hollow Knights or your Oris or whatever. Just like they're not big indie games. They're just smaller indie titles. And I honestly am kind of shocked that they didn't really show any. Like, they haven't shown anything big in a while. And their last major launch was just a stealth drop for the Mario game. I mean, I want some more information. I really do want some more information around their exclusives that they've just been kind of keeping secret. And also, what's funny to me right now is like just barely noticing this is that Temtem, a Pokemon clone, is launching on the PS5 and PS4, but we didn't get it. I don't think it's on Switch right now, which I think it's kind of funny. Solely for the fact that it's a Pokemon clone, and Pokemon right now is it's kind of stagnant. It hasn't really been evolving, so I kind of think that they kind of don't want Temtem on their console. I mean, the State of Play showed a bunch of indie games, but at least they had some standouts. At least this one didn't have any, and that's my big complaint with this show. Is they didn't really have anything to really stand out. But oh boy, if Nintendo doesn't bounce back for this, I am going to give them shit for this. Because they better show something. As a Nintendo fan, I want something to play on my Switch, but this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. But with that, guys, I know this podcast episode is a bit short. It's only going to be like an hour long, like an hour and like 30 minutes long. But I hope you guys enjoyed. And thanks for the support, guys, and thanks for stopping by. Please support the next episode too. Spread this show around and spread my channel around. Please press the like button and subscribe. And tune in for the next time, guys. Peace.